vitalitybyjenny.com, and I wanted to express something that had come up to me while I was listening to something else today, and how it relates to eating, and in particular to switching your diet over to something that's dramatically different from what you're doing right now. So I know that a lot of people suggest that you take things a little slower and take, individual steps that you can really incorporate into your life, and that isn't too much of a strain on you. So things like if you're coming from a standard American diet and you want to switch over to a vegan diet, then you're going to first cut out red meat, and then you work on cutting out chicken and turkey, and work your way through eggs and dairy and cheese in particular, or whatever, break up the dairy and all of that stuff. Break it down into these manageable steps. And while I'm not saying this is a terrible idea, it definitely has its place, but I wanted to give you a complete opposite perspective and what actually ended up working for me. So what actually ended up working for me was to make a big jump. You just dive right in, you make the big jump, and you just do it. And the reason that this works, I think, in some cases, is that when you're making that big jump, it's because you have been intuitively led to that spot, to that information, to whichever diet it is that is really calling your name. For me, like the raw food diet, or the 80-10-10 diet, or a low-fat, high-raw diet, those kinds of things. If it's really calling out to you, then you are going to have a lot more inspiration behind this big jump than if you are just making small changes along the way. Inspiration can be a very magical tool that you can use to be successful in lots of different things, but particularly in making a switch to a healthier diet. You can use this inspiration in moments where it gets tough, because it's bound to get tough at some point, but when you have something as good to look forward to as what is promised in diets like the 80-10-10 diet or a low-fat, high-raw diet, these kinds of diets, when you know that that is what's waiting for you, and you're in that moment where you're extremely inspired, then those challenges are going to be much more easily overcome, and you're going to see results much quicker. So not only will you have the immediate inspiration from being intuitively led to this particular diet in this moment, but you're going to have continued inspiration because you're going to actually see the benefits. So when you're making these small steps, sure, there's going to be benefits along the way, but it's not going to be anything as noticeable as if you took a big leap. So the little steps in gradually building up, of course, has its place. If you have tried the big leap and it's just not working for you, resort back to the little steps and just implement the things that you can do. But I'm just saying, be open to taking the big leap. It's not always a recipe for failure. In fact, people who think that they have failed on it, just because they didn't get it right the first time, it doesn't mean that you failed. I did not succeed initially on what I had set out to do, which was to be 100% 80-10-10. But I learned a lot about myself and about the way that I wanted to eat, and really got very close to succeeding on that original goal. But what happened along the way is I kind of changed my own goal into something that more suited me, which was the low-fat, high-raw diet. And all that is, the only difference is that I eat some cooked vegan food that's still high carb. And so I was way more successful by taking this big leap and shooting for the biggest end goal I could than I think that I would have been had I continued to just make the small little changes that I was making initially. And I wanted to mention that this is a principle that applies to many things. So what I was originally hearing it from was about goal setting. So when you're set any kind of goal, say a financial goal, you want to make a certain amount of money, or something to do with your finances. You want to set a goal that you really, really want. What is it that you really actually want? Not what you think you can do. Sure, you think you can, cut red meat out. Sure, that sounds plausible, but what do you really, really want? And you want to go for that, because that's going to lead you to a ton of inspiration and a ton of tools and courage to overcome the challenges that it may present themselves, that always do present themselves when you're going you're going after something worthwhile. So there's just some food for thought for you today. If you would like a free recipe ebook, then just visit my website, www.happysexyhealthy.net, and you can grab an instant download right there of a free recipe book. Okay, I love you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.